in compliance with the Brown Act. SCAG offices are open for members of the public to attend and participate in person. Instructions for providing public comment have been provided in advance and are also included in the agenda packet. If a member of this body is attending remotely but is not at a location specified on the agenda, they may observe and comment as a member of the public, but may not participate in any member discussion or voting of this body. For all members participating remotely, please ensure your microphone is muted when not in use. Please state your name during deliberations and whether making a motion or offering a second. Any voting member or member of the public calling into this meeting by telephone can press *6 to mute and unmute. All telephone participants should identify themselves prior to speaking. SCAG encourages all members of the public to participate in its meetings. We are committed to holding meetings accessible to people with disabilities. For members of the public requiring ADA accommodation, please call 213-630-1410. SCAG offers free interpretation services for members of the public needing information in another language. Please call 213-236-1895. The meeting will now begin.
We're good? All right, well, good morning. Today's Thursday, November 6th, 2025. The meeting of the Transportation Committee is now called to order. All right, great. Can I have, please, the Honorable Steve Manos lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, would you all please rise and join us as we pledge allegiance to the greatest flag on God's green earth? Right hand over your heart, ready, begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have a quorum?
We show a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. All right. I want to open the public comment period of the meeting for items not listed on the agenda. Have we received any written public comments after the deadline of 5 p.m. on Wednesday, November 5th?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. I believe that we have, at least for the Regional Council and also for the Transportation Committee, those have been emailed to the members of the TC and will be included in the record. Thank you.
Do we have any members of the public who wish to speak on matters not listed on the agenda? Any online? No. All right. And I will now, nobody in here, right? Nope. Okay. I will now close the public comment period for matters not listed on the agenda and move us into consent and action items. Consent calendar. Do we have, we're not changing anything, right, on this? Okay. Do we have any members of the public who wish to speak on consent calendar? Okay, we have a motion. Who made the motion? Sorry. Thank you.
Gabbard, second.
Perfect. We have a motion and a second to move consent.
Zia Lahir. Javiera Mescua. Adele Andrade Stadler. Phil Becerra, Ryan Bayless,
Yes.
Catherine Barker,
Yes.
Ryan Berkson, Jeanette Burns, Denise Delgado, Jonathan Dimitru, John Dutre,
Yes.
Bubba Fish, John Get. Was that a vote with Fish? No. John Gabbard,
Yes.
Jason Gibbs,
Yes.
William Go,
Yes.
Kurt Hagman, Jan Harnick,
Yes.
Lauren Hughes Leslie,
Aye.
Heather Hutt, Mike Judge,
Yes.
Fred John,
Fred Jung, aye.
Trish Kelly,
Yes.
Lauren, Linda Krupa,
Yes.
Andrew Laura,
Present.
Carlos, Bridget Lewis, Clint Lormore, Ken Mann.
Ken Ben, yes.
Thank you. Received. Steve Ono,
Yes.
Ray Markin,
Yes.
Larry McAllen, Marcia McLean, Tim McOsker, Linda Molina, Carol Moore,
Carol Moore, aye.
Suzette Mullen, Juan Munoz Cavada,
Yes.
Ara Najarian,
Yes.
Frank No,
Yes.
thank you. Received. Nikki Perez, David Reddy, Bill Rebel Ed Reese,
Yes.
Gabriel Reyes, Ali Saleh,
Saleh is a yes.
Steve Sanchez, Tim Sandoval, Zach Schwank, Emma Sharif, Assam Sheikh,
Yes.
Jason Manoff,
Yes.
Jeremy Smith,
Aye.
Ward Smith,
Yes.
Hilda Solis, Wes Speak,
Aye.
Karen Spiegel, Cynthia Sternquist, Butch Twining, Steve Ty, Bill Uphoff,
Yes.
Michael Vargas,
Yes.
Scott Voigt, Donald Wagner, Colleen Wallace,
Yes.
Alan Wapner,
Yes.
Thomas Wong,
Wong, yes.
Zen Wu.
Yes, acceptable item one, abstain.
Thank you. Received. Mr. Chair, the motion passes 34 in
Oh.
favor.
Phil Becerra, yes, as well.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sarah.
All right, we're going to move on to our action items, number 8 on your agenda, and we'll have staff present on this first item. Calling on Heidi Buslinger, Principal Regional Planner for SCAG.
Okay. All right. Good morning, Chair Judge, Vice Chair Wong, and TC members.
I'm Heidi Besslinger, Principal Planner in the Integrated Planning and Programming Department here at SCAG. Today, we are seeking TC's action on the federal fiscal year 2026-27 and 2027-28 STBG and CMAQ project award list and contingency list. Got it. Okay. Okay, so this slide highlights the federal funding sources addressed in the recommendation. Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Improvement Program, or CMAQ dollars, are intended to fund transportation projects or programs that reduce congestion and improve air quality for areas that do not meet the National Ambient Air Quality Standards for criteria air pollutants. The Surface Transportation Block Grant Program, or STBG, provides flexible funding to address state and local transportation needs. Funds may be used for projects to preserve and improve the conditions and performance of highways, bridges, and public roads, pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure, and transit capital projects. Combined, the SCAG region's apportionment of these two federal funding sources amount to roughly $600 million a year, for a total estimated $1.2 billion available through this call. As a little background, SCAG in its role as the MPO is responsible for the project selection for STBG and CMAQ funded projects within the SCAG region. Historically, the 6 county transportation commissions within the SCAG region previously conducted the project selection for STBG and CMAQ funds. However, due to a federal corrective action issued to the SCAG region in 2022, this responsibility has now shifted to SCAG. As part of the federal corrective action, SCAG had to submit a compliance action plan, which outlined our project selection process for the region. The STBG and CMAQ program guidelines and the call for project nominations process were developed consistent with SCAG's compliance action plan that was approved by Regional Council in February 2023 and subsequently approved by Caltrans in coordination with the FHWA and FTA. You can find the final compliance action plan in attachment 3 of the staff report. This is the second call for project nominations that SCAG has conducted since the CAP approval, with the first call taking place last year in 2024. The program guidelines for the current call for project nominations were presented to and approved by the RC in March 2025. This slide provides an overview of the schedule for the call for project nominations. As mentioned in the previous slide, the TC and RC approved the program guidelines for this call on March 6, 2025. SCAG staff hosted 2 region-wide workshops for eligible applicants and jointly hosted 5 county-specific workshops throughout the month of March, with an additional LA County workshop focused on the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games. SCAG staff also offered office hours throughout the month of April to all eligible applicants, which resulted in over 30 appointments. Furthermore, as outlined in the program guidelines, the county transportation commissions were required to conduct outreach to all eligible applicants within their county. More information on these specific outreach activities is provided in the staff report. The solicitation for project nominations opened on March 31st and concluded on May 16th. The county transportation commissions reviewed the applications and submitted their prioritization list to SCAG on August 1st. SCAG staff conducted the application review and project selection process from August to October. Today, SCAG staff is presenting the award recommendations to the Transportation Committee and will return to the Regional Council for final approval on December 4th. Following RC approval, SCAG will work with the awardees and county transportation commissions to get the projects programmed in the FTIP and obligated by the federal agencies. This slide illustrates how projects were scored, including the scoring criteria and rubric. As you can see, approximately 50% of the points are based on the County Transportation Commission's prioritization. All project applications were scored by 4-person panels based on the criteria outlined in the guidelines. Scores were then translated into a SCAG ranking of highly recommended, recommended, contingency, and not recommended based on the scoring thresholds in the guidelines. To achieve programmatic investment thresholds and ensure a balanced program of projects, SCAG staff adjusted project prioritization based on performance-based county targets, relative funding availability, overall program balancing for a variety of project types, equitable investment, and regional diversity, and assessment of project readiness and project schedule feasibility as it relates to the years in which funds are available and timely use of funds requirements. All projects with a ranking of highly recommended, and contingency that do not receive funding due to insufficient funds will be placed on the contingency list. Contingency list projects will be awarded as funding becomes available. For example, due to an awarded project's inability to deliver within the obligation timeline or due to an increase in apportionments available to the region. Available funding will be prioritized for partially awarded projects and projects on the contingency list with a highly recommended ranking. Projects that receive a not recommended ranking are not considered SCAG selected and must reapply in a future call to be considered for these funding sources. Here you can see the number of applications submitted along with the amount of funding requested. Please note that all dollar amounts within this slide and the next few slides are listed in thousands. As you can see, the overall requests were much larger than the funding available within this call. We received 257 applications requesting $3 billion in funding. As mentioned previously, our estimated funding for this call totals $1.2 billion. Projects were considered based on their eligibility for the fund sources. This slide shows the distribution of recommended funding awards by fund source across the counties, along with the number of projects recommended for award. Overall, SCAG is recommending 130 projects for award across the region, totaling $1.2 billion in funding. Awards were distributed to the highest ranked projects within each county. The next several slides break down the recommendations to the county level. For the detailed list of projects recommended for funding, please see attachment 1 of the staff report. First up is Imperial County. SCAG is recommending $11.4 million in STBG and CMAQ funding to 12 projects from Imperial County, with 3 projects added to the contingency list. Recall that projects on the contingency list are still considered SCAG selected and therefore eligible to be programmed with CMAQ and/or STBG funding if it becomes available. SCAG is recommending $675.1 million in STBG and CMAQ funding to 37 projects from Los Angeles County, with 43 projects added to the contingency list and 25 projects not recommended. Recall that projects with a ranking of not recommended are not considered SCAG selected and would need to reapply in a future call to be eligible for these federal funding sources. SCAG is recommending $215.5 million in STBG and CMAQ funding to 35 projects from Orange County, with 19 projects added to the contingency list and 13 projects not recommended. SCAG is recommending $152.8 million in STBG and CMAQ funding to 6 projects from Riverside County, with 6 projects added to the contingency list and 5 projects not recommended. SCAG is recommending $147.2 million in STBG and CMAQ funding to 19 projects from San Bernardino County and 4 projects not recommended. SCAG is recommending $47.9 million in STBG and CMAQ funding to 23 projects from Ventura County, with 4 projects added to the contingency list and 3 projects not recommended. With TC action, staff will take these award recommendations to Regional Council for approval on December 4th. Upon RC approval, awardees may begin programming the SCAG selected projects into the FTIP and begin the obligation process with Caltrans local assistance. SCAG will offer debriefing opportunities to applicants in January. SCAG staff will return to TC and RC with post-award programming procedures and policies in February. Lastly, SCAG anticipates conducting an STBG and CMAQ call for project nominations every odd year, so this is not the only opportunity for funding. Staff anticipates updating the guidelines for the next call as early as next calendar year and returning to the TC and RC with our next call cycle award recommendations in calendar year 2027. That concludes my presentation. Our team is available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great presentation. Do we have any members of the public who wish to speak on this item?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have one in-person commenter, Hector Rodriguez.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Judge, and to all of members of all of you. My name is Hector Rodriguez. I'm with Access Services. I'm here to speak obviously on this item. Access provides ADA paratransit service to all of Los Angeles County, and it's also the Los Angeles County Designated Transportation Agency. Access, I personally recognize the difficulty that SCAG and had to undergo in order to make all these selections for the limited available funds. We want to thank you for selecting Access as one of the projects to be awarded STBG funds. While we did not receive the full amount requested in the grant application, we are thankful for the proposed level of funding, and we want SCAG to know that we stand ready to receive any additional funds that may become available, as we have both the ability and capacity to quickly utilize federal funding to avoid any potential lapse in funds. Thanks again for selecting Access and the region to provide ADA complementary services.
Thank you. All right. Any other public comments from people here? None? Nope. Or we have any online? All right, great. I'll entertain comments from the Transportation Committee. Okay. All right, go with Larry McCallum first, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just first a comment. It's unfortunate that the federal government requires us to put another layer of bureaucracy on top of the way it was done before. Now we have an overhead for SCAG in addition to the overhead for the CTCs. I didn't hear anything about how much was taken off the top to cover the overhead of SCAG.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
First of all, I appreciate the opportunity to be talking about this. This is the second cycle we're going through. So we've done this before. We did this last year. On why SCAG is involved, I think it should be noted that for the last maybe almost 3 decades, this region had been out of compliance with the federal process. In just about every region, the MPO is required under federal regulations to select projects. So the requirement that came to us at SCAG was really being compliant with existing law that's been in place for, I think, about 30 years. And it's not so much that we were going against the law. There's actually a state law that assigned the responsibilities to the 6 county commissions, except the federal government does not agree with the state law. And so when we got the corrective action, we took steps to make sure that we were in compliance. And the regional council has acted twice now to be consistent with that compliance action report, action plan that we submitted to the federal government that was approved by both Caltrans and the federal agencies. In terms of what was set aside at the top, when we took over the assignment to run this, we actually negotiated that as part of the compliance because we didn't have no resources within SCAG to run the program. And so we were allowed under the federal process to actually be able to have program administration funds assigned to us. Now, in the negotiation, it was 2.5% that was set aside. However, it's not 2.5% that goes to administration. The 2.5% includes regional type projects. And we do have projects that are of regional nature that are not necessarily high priorities within each of the respective counties. And those regional projects are what we've assigned most of the resources in the 2.5% to. With regards to what we spend on administration is less than, I think for staff, it's about 1 staff person only, and expenses for consultants. So it's within the range of just about under $1 million for that. The remaining 2.5% are assigned to specific regional-wide projects. In this cycle, the highest regional project that we we saw fit to put money into was the program we brought to the regional council with regards to the Olympics framework that regional council approved. We were using resources in the 2.5% set aside to fund the SCAG activities to run the TDM programs in the Olympics. So that's where those resources are. In the next cycle, the 2.5% was available. We'll probably do some other regional project that might be in a different part of the region. There are a number of projects that we know are not as compelling for every single county to fund. And we feel like that's an opportunity for this committee and regional council to be able to put those resources to those kinds of projects.
Thank you, Comey. I understand all of that, and I just wanted to make everyone aware of it. It wasn't in the presentation, so.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. So under the federal process that we are under, SCAG resources have to be shown in the overall work program, which we bring to you in a different cycle. So the way we fund SCAG with federal resources, our work has to be shown in the OWP, the overall work program. So that has been before the regional council. In fact, when we brought the framework for the Olympics work to you, we recognized the work in that program and in the OWP. So we've in talking to our colleagues across the region, we've directed them to the OWP work, to the OWP to show the breakdown of the work that we're doing with the set aside. So that's where we have to show the work. We can't, it's not part of the programming that's before you today. So that's a good point.
Thank you. Commissioner Gabbard.
Thank you. And I want to thank the staff for their work on this. It's been it's been quite an education for me personally, and it's in discussions with folks in Orange County, I'm glad to see that there's been a constant dialogue between both our transportation authorities and the SCAG staff. With that, I'm noodling through this 2.5% and how to best create transparency on the spend. And I know that it was part of a different spending authorization, but is there any way that we can bring that back so we all understand where the dollars are being spent together?
Oh, absolutely. That's a request we'll meet anytime. Okay. So we can make that information item back to the committee at the next committee meeting.
Yeah, even if it's just receive a file.
Yeah.
Just so that we're all as you well understand, we're all moving in different directions, and we may not grasp, oh, this went out of the federal block grant or where the money's specifically coming from.
So we'll agendize that, but what I might even do maybe quickly is send a note to all of the members of this committee with an attachment that shows the breakdown of that expense.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, hi. I appreciate you bringing that up about the expense, the overhead, and I appreciate having it brought back to us. I think would be a good educational tool. But in the recommended action, under item number 2, it says authorize the SCAG executive director or his designee to make programming adjustments as necessary. I'm just wondering what program adjustments would be anticipated.
You want to
speak to that? Well, you can speak to that too. Comey knows a little bit about this. Warren Whitaker, manager of integrated planning and programming. Basically, projects have changed. You know, with your projects like the Cross Valley, I'm trying to think of the one that parallels the 126, but I'm not going to go into specifics because I get a brain fart on the specific project in Santa Clarita. But every time you do a project, there's changes. You have costs increase. There may be a new issue shows up. So rather than having to come back to the TC and RC every time you have a minor change in the project, like you have to do with some statewide grants, like if you have a project from the California Transportation Commission, Somebody sneezes on the project, you have to go back to the California Transportation Commission to get a reauthorization. I think some of the points about the administrative procedures and like trying to slow down projects, we're trying to do the opposite. We're trying to make sure that there's sufficient flexibility to address changes in real time. So the administrative policies and those programming procedures that Heidi mentioned that'll be coming back to you in February, those help to detail exactly how that happens. But this is essentially, allowing authorization that every minute change that otherwise could delay a project happens through those procedures so that we can get those projects obligated and delivered and out for public use.
So just to understand, a particular project is given a particular amount according to the chart. So SCAG is responsible for those projects, or are those projects are the people that have the money and that the project is being implemented through? Aren't they responsible for the changes? Why would there be an executive director or his designee having to make adjustments?
Because as Heidi's slide indicated, after you're selected, then you need to work. It's kind of a coordinated effort between us and the county transportation commissions to have those projects programmed in the Federal Transportation Improvement Program. Once you have them programmed, then you go to Caltrans local assistance to obligate those funds. The other option is that if it's a transit project, then you flex it to the Federal Transit Administration. So yes, the project sponsor is doing that, but there's a whole procedural thing with maintaining the FTIP and that. So that's essentially like, how do we kind of limit that additional potential time delay on projects?
So so the executive director would not be responsible for deciding that a particular program falls out of this or not?
No, there will be no action by this executive director that's counter to actions that you've taken. This is really to just streamline the administrative process. That's really what that language is.
Okay.
And when we do bring back, the administrative procedures, which we would have brought together, but we're still having conversations across the region. When you see that in February, it details the processes that will allow us to be less bureaucratic about how we manage the program.
Okay, so the recommendations wouldn't change for any project. They're there.
No.
And okay.
And the FTIP is going to come back to this group again with the projects identified in the FTIP for your approval and regional council approval.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Trish Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that you will be offering the debriefs, because that was something I was going to ask about, given how complex the federal requirements are and the competitiveness of the awards, and especially since we were oversubscribed substantially, it will be helpful to hear how we might be able to do better next time.
Absolutely.
And then just if you could provide a little bit of clarification on how and why some of the projects were only partially funded. I understand being oversubscribed, but how was that determination made?
So, and I'm going to let the experts talk to you about it, but I think the approach we took is to try as much as possible to put money on projects that will spend the money in time, understanding that we have another cycle in 2 years. So if a project was asking for money they're not going to spend within 2 years, we didn't think it was okay to park the money there when there are other projects that could be started. So that's a general philosophy that we took in addressing it, while trying to meet the high priority, highly recommended projects in each county. So that's really one of the overarching principles, is to make sure that the funds that are programmed in this cycle are funds that will be spent as quickly as possible, understanding that if there's a need for more additional funding on a project, there's another cycle coming when those monies will be needed to fund the next phase of the project, as opposed to putting all the money on one project at this point.
Got it. Thank you.
I jump. Great. Exactly that. The other nuance that I would, or specific that I'd add to that, is we use the information that was provided by the applicants in the applications. So if they had phased out their project, that they were doing the environmental work, or they were doing PS&E or right-of-way acquisition, we tried to fully fund that component so that, as Comey said, continue to make progress on that project. And then when they're ready for the next phase, they come through the next thing and then they continue on their merry way. There were a couple of cases where it was more challenging because they had a larger construction, but then we looked at projects where they very clearly detailed out a lot of different components. Could you right size that construction and go with a slightly lower dollar amount so that we can get as many projects in the queue and actively moving forward and utilizing those federal funds rather than having them sit on the sidelines and being not of no use for it to anybody. So.
Thank you. Commissioner Manos?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Just wanted to go ahead and make an observation, ask two questions. Notice that the recommended or the programmed items had a lot to do with smaller projects. I would say a lot of pedestrian bridges, maybe upgrades to alternative fuel vehicles. I saw a lot of that in there too. Not so much real infrastructure changes. I did note that RTCTC was awarded the extension for a poor partial reward, I should say, but the extension for the pull lanes. And I think that's going to help Corona a lot. That's one of my member cities that I represent, and Corona needs as much help as they possibly can get. If you've been through Corona, it takes an hour to get from Corona to Corona. It's incredibly impacted city. There were some other, looking at the supervisor here, she knows what I'm talking about. There's a couple of other projects that were listed on the contingency list. First question is how to get those projects moved forward, and what considerations are taken to go ahead and get that moved forward, as well as how do we begin thinking, I know they take longer, but how do we begin thinking about more meat and potato projects, interchange improvements, things that are actually going to go ahead and help capacity and whatnot? Thank you.
Yeah, again, I think that's a great question. The principles around which projects are funded, first of all, note that the projects that were funded are exactly projects that came from each of the counties as highly recommended. And then the principles that follow that is as part of the federal requirements and obligations is to make sure that we're funding projects that promote federal performance measures, which we're responsible for, and this group takes actions on, and projects that, so our projects are consistent with federal requirements, is what I'm saying. The other thing is every project proponent comes in with an optimism bias about they're going to get all these projects done. But we also know that history has taught us, at least in my history, that not all projects get done on schedule. And as those projects fall off schedule, there will be resources available to allow us to move projects from contingency list and get them funded. That's why we have a contingency list. And as those actions are necessary, you will see them on your agenda to take those actions.
Bush. Commissioner Hagman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just want to, first of all, commend staff for, as I called it, threading the needle this cycle, because we have been used to the way we've been doing things with our regional transportation boards, getting a formulated fund and doing our own thing. Federal Transportation Authority say, hey, you're doing that wrong. You need to look at your region. I know for me, living on a border city, that we all know where there's choke points. 71 to 91 South, for example, that's never going to be fixed by Riverside because it's not their priority. 57 to the 60 interchange, we all have those that never make it on that priority list because it doesn't serve our population. So the FTA came back and said, hey, you need to look at your region as a whole. It could have been a very dramatic change this year. If we follow that to the letter, maybe RTAs wouldn't have got, some got zero funding and someone got all funding. So first of all, thank you to staff to try to balance that out, but realize this probably needs to be taken up to a different level as we go forward. And more of that needs to be looked at the region. Where are those bottle points for those trucking routes? Where are the bottle points for our pedestrians and our motorists getting to from points as a region, not as a county? But I kind of warned this 2 years ago when we had to do the quick change to comply with the federal law. That is going to be a change the way we do things. And I think this is about the best you could do to ease that into there. But I expect to see the next cycle be a little bit different, next cycle be a little bit different as we look as a region, as we retrain ourselves to look at our region and not in our silos of our own county. So thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. I couldn't have said it any better. I think that's really the point, is that this body needs to look at those regional projects. The biggest choke point in the supply chain system in the entire country is in our region. It's an orphan project at the confluence, and these are an opportunity for us to begin to look at projects like that together.
Thank you, Commissioner Zenwu.
Thank you, Chair. Then on behalf of OCOG, I appreciate the work the staff has done. I'm very, there was some concern that certain transportation agency will take all the money and let our small counties little money. But it looks like the money is distributed fairly proportional or fairly. I appreciate that. I also like Commissioner Hagman's comments. I hope that when you come back with the list of projects for the 2.5% of the cost, I will see a few projects that is truly regional, beyond the county silos. And to build on Commissioner Trishkali's question, when we decide to fund a project at lower percentage, whatever the number is, it's not 100%. Do you expect that if the agency makes good enough progress and they come back for the next funding cycle, they will be given priority to be eventually fully funded? Or have you decided, okay, this is the amount of money we're giving you to the project and this is it?
I would hope that when we do come back with projects that are making good progress, that they will have priority. I can't guarantee that today, but that would be the intent, and because it would be an action by the TC and the regional council to fund those projects. And so those projects have to make a compelling case for why they are the higher priority, because we've already had sunk cost and there's a need to get the project across the finish line. So I think one can assume that there will be some measure of priority to fund projects that we've already started with the next cycle of funding so that they can get done. Otherwise, it will be a waste of resources.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Spiegel.
When does the partnership with Caltrans and the responsibility that they have with the interstates and the regional highways and stuff, because I noticed that many of our projects are funding those projects. When does that partnership that they put in money define? Sorry, had to do that. Because, you know, if you look at this, there's several that are more of a Caltrans project, yet we're all, as our commissions, are taking those on because we know the necessity. And they're not expansion, because I know with Caltrans and the governor, they don't want capacity building, but these are fixing existing. When does that partnership and extra money come that way?
Well, as soon we continue to look to see what's in Caltrans pockets that we can pick. I mean, that seriously, that is the case. We the resources that are available through the state processes, we go after all the state competitive sources to make sure that we're using state sources to match the federal sources that we have. The projects that we're picking, even though they're on Caltrans facilities, they're projects that serve our region and are needed in our region. And to the extent that there's resources available at the state level, we'll go after them as well. So we don't wait for them to come to the table. We actually go seeking to see where the resources are. We just went through a cycle competitive funding on the congested corridors program under SB1. I think we did okay with that. The next cycle for TCEP for the trade corridors funding, we're going to try to do as well. We always seem to, I think we do well on those state funding sources. There's never enough resources to do.
But I'm saying more than just us continuing to do them in our counties, but working more of in a partnership on what's Caltrans looking at, what their projects they're doing. Are they just doing maintenance?
I'd let Caltrans speak to that.
I didn't want to turn around again.
Maybe Marlon has something to say about that.
Yes. Commissioner, there's definitely opportunities for Caltrans to partner with agencies such as RCTC and other regional and, for that extent, local entities. We do appreciate SCAG region, of course, helping to compete, right, for projects that we know are necessary in our region, especially Riverside County. These are conversations that can be had with our local partners, and I hope that especially our Caltrans District 8 is initiating those conversations with RCTC to discuss what makes sense in a corridor manner to deliver transportation solutions for the region. So we can have that conversation.
Thank you. If we could all remember, I'm a former cop, so I get easily confused. Put your flags down when you're done speaking. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we're going to go to online comments. We're going to have Ken Mann from Lancaster, Commissioner.
Good morning. Thank you so much to my colleagues and staff for the thoughtful discussion thus far. I am Councilwoman Lauren Hughes Leslie here with Councilman Ken Mann, and we just want to express our thanks and gratitude to the team that put together this assessment and recommendations. We talk about regional impact. This project specifically in the city of Lancaster will affect Palmdale, Lancaster, and the county. So just thank you again to the staff, the colleagues for the transparent assessment and recommendation. And we look forward to the response and the products that my colleagues have asked for.
Thank you. Ara Najarian, Commissioner.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I have a question about the deobligation process. As everyone knows, a lot of these projects as submitted have not been totally fleshed out. There hasn't been any CEQA. In many cases, there hasn't been a lot of public outreach at the local level and also at the CTC level, the County Transportation Commission. So what would occur if funding for a particular project were to be turned down or deobligated from the County Transportation Commission level? Would that funding stay in that county, or would it be kicked out to the contingency pool and possibly open to any project in the SCAG region? I'm curious about that, if you could explain that.
Oh, that's a great question. In fact, there are a number of projects right now that are sitting on obligated funds that haven't been spent. And so we're actively working with each of the commissions to move that federal obligation, I think to the tune of about 100 million, right? So there is another 100 million that projects are sitting on that we are beginning to work through to make those make that obligation available for projects that are in need of it right now. So to the question, if a project was now moving forward and is sitting on an obligation, we'll be looking to assign those resources within that subregion first, and then we'll look to see what the higher priority might be if there's nothing to apply the obligation to.
Oh, I'm sure people will have you'll have no problem finding projects to pick up the obligated money. But as you said, it stays in the subregion, meaning the county. I'm presuming that to mean the county.
Yes.
And that answers my question. I appreciate it, and thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we have no more hands, no more flags. Okay. Commissioner Hagman moved. Harnick second. Barger. Thank you. So we have a first and a second. Call for vote.
Zeal Ahir, Javier Mezcua, Adele Andrade Stadler, Phil Becerra.
We fucking vote. Aye.
Thank you. Received for Becerra. Ryan Bayless,
Bayless, yes.
Catherine Barker,
Yes.
Ryan Bergson,
Yes.
Jeanette Burns, Denise Delgado, Jonathan Dimitri, John Dutre, Bubba Fish, John Gabbard,
Yes.
Jason Gibbs,
Aye.
William Go,
Yes.
Kurt Hagman, Jan Harnick,
Yes.
Lauren Hughes Leslie,
Hughes Leslie, I.
Heather Hutt, Mike Judge,
Judge, aye.
Fred Jung,
Fred Jung, aye.
Trish Kelly,
Yes.
Lauren Kleiman,
Yes.
Linda Krupa,
Yes.
Andrew Laura,
Yes.
Carlos Leon,
Yes.
Bridget Lewis, Clint Lorimore, Ken Mann,
Ken Mann, yes. Meantime, we talked about the issues with airports, the military.
Ray Marquez,
Yes.
Larry McAllen,
Yes.
Marcia McLean,
Yes.
Tim McOsker, Linda Molina, Carol Moore,
Carol Moore, I.
Suzette Mullins, Juan Munoz Guevara.
Yes.
Thank you. Received. Ara Najarian,
Yes.
Frank Navarro,
Yes.
Nikki Perez, David Reddy,
Yes.
Gil Rebelar, Ed Reese.
Yes.
Thank you. Gabriel Reyes, Crystal Ruiz.
Reyes, yes.
Thank you.
It won't. Yes, Crystal Reese.
Thank you. Received for Ruiz. Ali Saleh,
Yes.
Steve Sanchez,
Sanchez, aye.
Tim Sandoval,
Yes.
Zach Schwank, Emma Sharif, Assam Sheikh,
Yes.
Marty Siminoff,
Yes.
Jeremy Smith,
Aye.
Ward Smith,
Yes.
Hilda Solis, Wes Speak, Karen Spiegel,
Speaker, yes.
Cynthia Stern,
Speak aye. Sorry.
Sternquist, yes.
thank you. Received for Speak and for Sternquist and Spiegel, Butch Twining, Steve Ty, Bill Uphoff,
Yes.
Michael Vargas,
Yes.
Scott Boytz, Donald Wagner, Colleen Wallace,
Yes.
Alan Wapner,
Yes.
Thomas Wong,
Yes.
Zen Wu.
Who I.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion passes 45 in favor and 0 against.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. We're going to move on to our informational items now, starting with number 9. And this is going to be put on by Crystal Ayala.
Thank you, Chair Judge, and good morning, members of the Transportation Committee. I'm Crystal Ayala. I'm a planning supervisor with the Partnerships, Technology, and Innovation Department. And today I'm here to provide an update on our Regional Pilots Initiative Program, or RPI for short.
I'm going to walk through our 4 pilot program areas in just a minute, but first I want to set the stage on the creation of the RPI program and really kind of set the stage for the discussion in just a minute. The RPI program was really uniquely designed to accelerate the region's ability to bring key strategies of Connect SoCal 2024 to life. It's intended to serve as an incubator for pilots in the region that can be scaled to other parts of the region, and really allows us to test new and different partnership models while advancing state and regional objectives. Sort of core to the RPI program is our goal of advancing transformative projects. These are projects that are important and create long-lasting change in the region. The projects selected for the RPI program reflect the framework you see on the slide here and encompass a broad range of projects that are not only innovative in nature, but that really enables us as an agency to learn from these new partnership and project delivery approaches and really apply that to shape our future technical assistance programs that help all of your agencies implement and deliver projects in the region. So with that in mind, I'm going to step through each of our pilot program areas. As you can see on the slide here, our RPI program consists of 4 key program areas. From big data to fair modernization and shared mobility, these projects are all advancing diverse and innovative concepts and really rely on public and private stakeholder partnerships to succeed. Our first RPI pilot area to launch was the Transportation Data Technical Assistance Program. This program was created in direct response to the really rapid rise of technology and big data tools, AI, and in response to a need to support public agency staff to expand knowledge and capacity on using these tools for planning purposes. We designed this technical assistance program to provide free on-call access to SCAG's Streetlight Big Data platform. And we have a consultant on board who's available to walk hand in hand with public agency staff to show them how you can use these emerging tools for transportation planning initiatives, for supplementing existing data collection efforts, and informing decision-making. We launched this program earlier this year with a call for questions process, and we're in the process of refining our research methodologies, and we'll be publishing educational resources and case studies along the way. Also within the technology realm is the Open Loop Fare Payment Demonstration Project. We're partnering with Metrolink and Caltrans Integrated Travel Project, or CalITP, to test tap-to-pay technologies at stations along the San Bernardino and Arrow lines. Once complete, this project will allow riders of Metrolink's busiest rail line to use contactless payment methods such as a mobile wallet on your phone or your watch to ride transit. The program is currently in the procurement phase and initiating site planning, and we intend to install the fare validators and launch the program in early 2026. The timing of this demonstration project is really important for 2 key reasons. One, it's really on the heel of the state's efforts around the Transit Transformation Task Force, and will enable Metrolink to really join the ranks of other agencies that are making that shift to contactless in our region and nationally. And second, the timing really allows Metrolink to glean really important insights about the open loop implementation process to inform system-wide expansion in advance of the 2028 games. Shifting now to our multimodal shared mobility programs, we're also partnering with the Housing Authority of the City of Los Angeles, HACLA, to implement an e-bike lending library that will provide communities in the Watts neighborhood with access to a convenient and sustainable transportation option. This project will launch in late 2026 and will install an e-bike hub that will house and maintain a fleet of pedal assist bikes. And HACLA, in partnership with a community organization, will be operating a lending library program that will allow community members to check out the bikes for commuting to school, to work, or recreational purposes. This pilot project is really unique in that it's employing a community-based operating model that we think can be replicated in other parts of the region in partnership with public agencies, housing authorities, COGS, and affordable housing developers. And finally, in support of the Mobility Hub design and implementation guide, which was brought to this committee earlier this year, we're also in the process of identifying Mobility Hub pilots. This pilot program is intended to advance conceptual design and will support the implementation of a variety of hub amenities and services in different parts of the region and different land use contexts. We're in the midst of partnership selection now, and while all of that work is underway, we do plan to initiate onboarding a consultant to support us in the design of those mobility hub concepts so that we can quickly initiate work once those partners are onboarded. So as you can hopefully glean from my quick update of our pilot program areas, our pilot projects are really in different phases of the project cycle. We're just about wrapping up the partnership and pilot development phase, with many of our projects now swiftly moving into that procurement, the planning, the design stage. And while these pilot projects advance towards that launch stage, we'll continue monitoring pilot progress along the way. We've already started gleaning really important lessons learned and best practices to inform how we may scale and replicate this in other parts of the region. As a next step, staff will continue pursuing partnerships for the Mobility Hub pilots, initiating work on that procurement, and continue working with our existing RPI partners to support their pilot efforts. As we continue to advance the program and initiate work, we also hope to continue exploring funding opportunities to be able to scale and replicate this to other parts of the region, and plan to return to the Transportation Committee to provide an update at a future meeting. Thank you for your time. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you for that presentation. Do we have any members of the public that are willing to speak, wishing to speak? Okay, thank you. Who do we have? Commissioner Wallace.
Good morning. Good presentation. A question I have, because I know someone that's from Watts, and that's my husband. Woo woo. And I just want to know about the neighborhood, about the e-bikes. Like what area in Watts is this going to be taking place? And is it a pilot project too?
It is a pilot project. We plan to install that e-bike hub and operate the lending library out of the Nickerson Gardens facility. But the program will be open to community members in the entire Watts neighborhood.
You hear that, honey? Thank you.
All right. We have an online comment from, all it says here is patio conference room. So go ahead. I don't know who that is. They're moving.
So I see two members there in the room that says patio conference room. There's a map behind you. It's a man in a white shirt on the left. You need to unmute. Do we need to unmute you?
Pardon me? Okay. I think it's working.
Can you hear us now?
Yep.
Oh, wonderful. We have a public comment here from one of our participants.
Can you hear me? Good morning. My name is Denise Neal. I'm a community member, and I've been working on strategic projects from Santa Monica and inland through the entire Metro Light Rail transportation system. I'd like to know if any of these categories, especially the fourth category with the hubs, can be melded with, or if I can join my transportation-oriented development plans along with that particular project. I've been working on planning strategic hubs along every train line and the terminus of every train for first responders, law enforcement, and human services in preparation for the upcoming global sports events. Now, I've spoken with 6 agencies for law enforcement. They're all on board with this. I've spoken to fire and other rescue places from Santa Monica to Los Angeles, Culver City. I've spoken to CHP. They're all interested in this. And I've been working with global venture funds that are interested in building the transit-oriented mixed-use hubs, the affordable housing. And I'm wondering if we can partner or meld these projects with the bike program, because I know that MTA has to provide at least 21% affordable housing in each of these strategic hubs. I'm working with Beverly Hills. I've been working with West Cog, and we've been invited to submit our information to get into the procurement pool. So I'd like to know if we can further discuss the funding available, the builders I know, and the teams I've been building to help execute this within 18 months to 2 years in time for all the games.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else online? Nobody in here? Okay. Thank you very much for your presentation. All right, moving on to item number 10, SoCal, Connect SoCal 2024, and Ryan Banuelos will be presenting.
That's right.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair and Chair Judge and members of the Transportation Committee. My name is Ryan Banuelos. I'm a Senior Regional Planner in the Planning Strategy Department. This past June, we provided an update on the implementation strategies milestones that were included in the adopted Regional Transportation Plan and Sustainable Community Strategy, also known as Connect SoCal 2024. Today, I'm here to provide another update on the new milestones that SCAG has achieved. For context, direct implementation of Connect SoCal 2024 primarily relies on the actions and decisions of other transportation agencies, local jurisdictions, and actors in the private sector to operate transit service, install new bike paths, approve new land uses, or build new housing. SCAG takes a leadership role in establishing the vision and goals and identifying policy, strategies, and funding to reach each of these goals. Connect SoCal 2024 includes regional planning policies which provide guidance for integrating land use and transportation planning to realize the vision of Connect SoCal 2024. The implementation strategies articulate priorities for SCAG's efforts in fulfilling or going beyond the regional planning policies and identifying ways that SCAG will lead, partner, or support other responsible parties. There are 4 primary ways that we support our partners in implementation. We coordinate policy efforts across jurisdictions and stakeholders, ensure state and federally funded transportation projects and programs support Connect SoCal and assist the region in advancing key performance measures, and we conduct data collection, analysis, and research to further policy advancement. We provide funding and resources for local government through programs like Go Human, the Sustainable Communities Program, the Regional Early Action Planning Program, and the Local Information Services Program to enable them to advance Connect SoCal goals within their own communities. For the minutes, please note a correction on this slide in the first bullet that this is actually the 3rd implementation progress report since the adoption of Connect SoCal 2024 back in April 2024. So the detailed report included in your agenda packet as attachment 1 to the staff report provides milestone progress for 56 implementation strategies. In total, SCAG has progressed on 80 of the 93 strategies since the plan adoption. And since then, 3 strategies have been completed. 1 community strategies for housing the region, and 2 economy strategies for broadband. In the implementation report, the implementation strategies are organized by regional planning policy categories within the 4 Connect SoCal goal pillars of mobility, communities, environment, and economy. I'll highlight a few of the recent accomplishments among the implementation strategies, considering this committee's interests. So supporting implementation strategies under the complete streets and safety categories, the California Transportation Commission allocated funding for 3 projects in the SCAG region, 2 quick build projects and 1 local planning project back on June 26, 2025. This was facilitated through SCAG's request. Continuing to make progress under several implementation strategies, and as mentioned in the earlier presentation, SCAG staff reviewed 257 project nominations seeking over $3 billion in funding requests and are recommending 130 projects for $1.2 billion in available funding through the Surface Transportation Block Grant Program and Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Improvement Program Call for Projects. Under the Transit and Multimodal Integration category, SCAG executed a partnership agreement with Metrolink, also mentioned in the previous presentation, to implement and fund a contactless open loop fare payment pilot along the Metrolink San Bernardino and Airline. And lastly, for transportation demand management, SCAG staff moved forward on selecting a consultant to support the 2028 Games Regional Transportation Demand Management Strategy. Thank you all. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that presentation. Do we have any public comments on this?
No request to speak, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any members of the Transportation Committee would like to make comments? Okay, great. So again, thank you very much for that presentation. All right, moving right along, moving up to Chair's report. So for those of you attending next month's SCAG December meetings, we are having a joint policy committee meeting in lieu of the regular standalone policy committee meetings. So the JPC will begin at promptly at 9:30 a.m. and that's December 4th. When is that? Okay, December 4th. Right, so now we'll move on to our reports. And the first one is a Metrolink report. Commissioner Seminoff.
You ready?
Yep.
For ridership for the Los Angeles Dodgers World Series Championship Parade, Metrolink saw record ridership across the system during the Los Angeles Dodgers parade on November the 3rd. The highest single day of ridership post-pandemic was approximately 43,920 boardings reported system-wide. Extra trains were added on the Antelope Valley, Orange County, San Bernardino lines to help fans reach downtown and Los Angeles early, with all morning trains arriving standing room only by the time they reached Union Station. Fans were then able to transfer seamlessly to LA Metro, rail, and bus lines for a free ride to the parade route and Dodger Stadium festivities. And it helped ease with a lot of the traffic in the area. I think the event really kind of showed that Metrolink can move tens of thousands of people efficiently in a major regional celebration or event. And I think in preparing for the Olympics coming next year, that this kind of shows that Metrolink can be there to handle what's coming. Actually, also the Holiday Express train is coming back, and the Metrolink will operate the 2025 Holiday Express train in December as part of the annual community outreach and ridership promotion program. The themed train will run on select weekends and operate round-trip events from Los Angeles Union Station, San Bernardino, Irvine, Riverside downtown, and Simi Valley, providing festive rides along the key Metrolink corridors, including the Antelope Valley, Orange County, and Ventura lines. The event is there to promote rail safety, family-friendly travel during the holiday seasons, and generate some media exposure for the Metrolink.
Outstanding. Thank you very much for that report.
Excuse me.
Go Dodgers. Now we'll move on to announcements. There are no staff reports. So I know I was going to call. I see Commissioner McLean has flagged.
Oh, hi. No, I just thank you for that report. I just wanted to reiterate again that every single time there are new programs on Metrolink and new times implemented, such as late night, and programs that are really popular with population, ridership increases. And I am absolutely in favor of and support, and hope everyone else does as well, adding new trains and adding late night trains on the weekends where they don't exist right now, because people will ride the trains. They're sick of the freeways and they're sick of the traffic. So I can't iterate enough how much we all need to support adding new trains and upgrading our Metrolink system right now, because it's great as it is, but it can be so much greater. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any members have announcements to make? All right, seeing none. No, are we?
Councilmember Wu.
Councilmember Wu or Commissioner?
Yes, I just have a question about the Metrolink. Thank you for the update. Can you share with us a little bit more about the so-called day pass? This is the pass I bought today. The cost is substantial.
I'm sorry, Mr. Siminoff, I'm not sure if your mic is activated. I want to make sure folks who are online can hear you.
Yeah, I'm the ex officio, so I'm going to let one of the active board members describe how that actually works in greater detail.
Right. Well, way to pass the buck. You're representing this organization. You should be just as informed as the rest of us. Karen, you're on the board. Why don't you? Maybe Larry should do it. I don't know the tech. We still have a day pass. I don't know what the prices are or anything else.
It's $15 per
It's
day.
$15 for the day pass.
We do have a staff member from Metrolink.
How does it affect the revenue and the ridership?
We ran down the escalator, grabbed him, and pulled him up.
Yeah, Paul Hubler, Chief Strategy Officer with Metrolink. So your question is, how have riders responded to the $15 day pass?
Yes. How does it affect the ridership as well as the revenue?
Yeah, it's had a positive impact on both. And in fact, our CEO is going to be coming to OCTA in a week. I think on the 14th, the OCTA Transit Committee, to give a presentation that really lays out in detail how ridership has responded to the 15. Again, it's a $15 day pass that allows you to travel the entirety of the system. It really simplifies. We attempted to simplify the choices that were available to our riders, especially at the ticket vending machines. When you appear there, there used to be a lot of choices. We've simplified that. We wanted to make it very easy for people to understand that you can travel as far as you want on a round trip day pass for $15. So I think the response has been very positive. I don't have the exact numbers. We just implemented that starting on July 1, but we have the first quarter now, and we're preparing a report to OCTA at the request.
So thank you very much. It's especially good to hear that it has a positive impact on the revenue, because we all understand that Metrolink needs improved revenue to
Yeah,
keep going.
exactly. And there's also, I would just mention that there's a $5 day pass as well for the circle immediately outside the stations immediately within the vicinity of LA Union Station, intended as we increase our frequencies of service. So we become more than a commuter railroad, but we have more frequent service throughout the day, that folks could use Metrolink to get back and forth within a closer in zone of stations.
Thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Why don't you mention the student pass? Sorry,
Happy to do it. We also launched a new, a revised student pass starting July 1, which offers students with valid ID the opportunity for a 50% discount on any of our fare media. So that is really significant. We had changed it from 100% discount, which we were piloting, and which was inordinately successful, had huge demand. There may have been some folks as well who were tempted to go for a no-cost ticket at the vending machine without really being a student, and try to take their chances with the conductor. So we changed it over to 50% fare discount, and that has also not led to the percent decrease that we had forecast. It was a 20% decrease we had forecast in student ridership based on going from 100% to 50%. What we've seen, I think, is a 15% discount or 15% drop in student ridership, and it's not consistent across all lines. Orange County line, for instance, has remained very stable, the ridership. Some of the other lines have had drops, though, in student ridership.
Well, can you tell us about the 17 other programs that we have at Metrolink?
If I can just mention that Darren Kettle from CEO of Metrolink will be presenting at
the next transportation committee. And I believe we're scheduled to reconvene in February.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Nothing else going on. Thank you all for bearing with me one more time. We're going to adjourn the meeting and you guys,